Hello and welcome back to Module 2 of the Agile Operations Fundamentals course. In this course, we're going to be talking about teams have to do in order to go Agile. Teams normally are in a state of operations and they then decide to try their hand at Agile. So what are they going to do? Well, we've broken it down into 3 sets of practices. And as you know, the best way to start living the values and principles of Agile is to actually do the practices. So keep it simple and start doing the social practices, the process practices, and the improvement practices. And we're going to cover all 3 of them in this module. However, the first thing that you have to do before a team starts is actually identify the process and the team. It's surprising how teams never realize that they are a part of a bigger process or the entire value stream in itself. This is not visible to them. Organizations are structured in silos, but the process actually flows across these silos. So here's an example of a sales proposal process. The request comes in from the customer, it goes to the salespeople, they prepare it, someone else may do the pricing, someone else will make the proposal, someone may polish it up, there may be a QA review and approval, it goes back to the salespeople and back to the customer. And there are different teams that could actually perform different parts of this process. But what is important is the entire value stream. So the first task is to identify the process and the value stream that is being addressed, and then which teams do which part of that process. Visualize this and let the teams know this. Once they do, we can then start looking at the social practices. And we're going to cover 2 simple social practices. The first is the social contract, and the second is the mood marbles. Now, for the social contract, it's a very simple 45-minute exercise. Get the team in the room, put up a flip chart, write the behaviors that we want to practice on that, and get the team to start writing sticky notes of the behaviors that they want to see in their team, and start grouping it on the flip chart. And then you'd slowly realize that there are groups of these things. Some could be unacceptable behaviors, some are acceptable behaviors, and this becomes the social contract for that team. It is owned by the team, and everyone in the team gets a chance to voice their opinion and create an environment that they'd like to work in. Now, it can be done simply like this as well, to get people in, write down the key points and vote for it. So keep it simple, keep it low tech, come up with a social contract that is put up in a big chart on the wall where the people are working so that everyone can see it and own it. The next social practice is the mood marbles. This is where you have a jar of marbles, and this can be, you can use an app for this. There is an app going to be released extremely soon for mood marbles, which is a great way if you've got a distributed team. And every day, every week, team members can vote how they feel. We can accordingly gauge the temperature of the team. We're then going to cover 2 process practices. The first one being Agile value stream mapping, and the second one, Kanban boards. Agile value stream mapping is covered in detail in Module 6 of this training course. What it does is it visualizes the process and it records the time to do the work itself. So that's the activity time in green, as you can see here, and the wait time in red. And you use these numbers to calculate the process efficiency percentage. It's a great way to visualize work, to notice where your bottlenecks are, and it can be done in a very simple way within a couple of hours, providing you get the team together. Now, what's very important is that you do it across the value stream and not just within each silo, because if you value stream map just a part of the silo and improve just one part, you could be negatively affecting the other part of the value stream. So it's very important to do your value stream mapping as discussed in Module 6. The next practice is Kanban. Kanban is a Japanese word that translates roughly as signboard, and it is a method for managing process-oriented work with an emphasis on just-in-time delivery while not overloading the team members. It was inspired by the Toyota production system and lean manufacturing. Here is another example of a Kanban board. And as you can see, it is a visual process management system that uses a pull system as the core mechanism. So you pull the work as you go down. Team members pull work from a queue or a backlog, as you call it, and when they're ready, as opposed to having the work thrust down on them and overloading them, thus reducing efficiency due to switching loss. Visualization is an important aspect of Kanban as it exposes process operations and problems and stimulates collaboration to continuously improve the system. Each process step sets its optimum WIP limit or work in progress limit to avoid waste due to overburdening. This is a very easy technique to visualize your value stream and have teams use this technique to show the kind of work that they're doing and thus improve it as they go along. We've then got 4 simple improvement practices. The first one being big visual charts, the second one being point Kaizen, retrospectives, and showcases. Big visual charts are simple charts that are put up on the walls that are used to track and show problems and metrics. Later on in this course, you will see the metrics module where we will cover the 5 key metrics: cycle time, throughput, unit cost, customer satisfaction, and team satisfaction. But the other 3 that you could put up on the wall are risks, issues, and of course, team information. This provides a very visual way for teams to see where they are and what progress they're making. Kaizen means small continuous improvement. It is another Japanese word that comes from the Toyota production system. And what it involves is each individual in the team doing small things to reduce waste and remove bottlenecks. For example, the location of the printer, moving it closer to where you're working or in a more convenient location so you don't waste time going to and from the printer. The way the desks are organized, the way the paper files are stored. Maybe there's too much of sound around and there's distractions and you could do something about it. These are small examples of small changes that can improve productivity. Every individual team member should be observing the work they do and focusing on how they can improve it. It is very important to observe with a view to improve. The next practice is the retrospective. This has a very simple approach. You put up 3 pieces of butcher's paper on the wall, what worked well, what did not work well, and what still puzzles me. Have the teams use yellow stickies and put them up there, group them, and you will come out with the key areas that need improvement. And pick the top 3 things that need to be improved, and the team can then focus on these areas. Another improvement practice that is very useful is the showcase. This is where at the end of a given iteration or a time box, you may call it that, every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, you show to the key stakeholders your successes, what have you achieved in terms of metrics, and also share with them what went wrong. What are you trying to improve? What are you planning to improve? Be honest and open and transparent, and you will win the respect of the key stakeholders and the customers. And finally, don't forget to celebrate as a team. It's very important to celebrate success, but also have a lot of fun. We covered the 8 agile practices to get you going. So we've got the social contract, the mood marbles, agile value stream mapping, Kanban, big visual charts, point Kaizen, retrospectives, and showcases. And this should be good enough to get the team starting on their agile journey. In the next module, we will be talking about what leaders need to do to support the teams on this journey. And then finally, we will talk about improving the process and what are the steps that teams have to undertake in order to substantially improve the entire operations process. In summary, get started. Work with the social practices, the process practices, and the improvement practices, and I wish you all the best on your agile journey.